Hey guys, this is John from Models by John Michael. If you guys could go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button, that way you guys know what's going on. That would really help me out. So today I want to talk about something that every modeler should have in their arsenal of tools. That's an airbrush. Now this particular airbrush is Apache Airbrush. I got this for my wife Christmas of 2019. It sat in the box until this last Christmas because I didn't have an air compressor to run it, and then my wife actually got me an air compressor, and then ever since then I've been using this. I will say this tool right here gives you a superior paint job every time. Compared to a rattle can, this thing, there's no comparison for the level of control you get out of it, for the type, for the quality of the paint job that you get. There really is no comparison. You can spray just about anything out of these things, acrylics, enamels, you name it, you can spray it out of here. So obviously you just have to thin your paints. Different paints need to be thinned different amounts and things like that. So, and that's stuff you can research on YouTube and whatnot and get information. That's how I've figured this out as I've gone along. Obviously you want a good air compressor to go along with it. An air compressor that will actually allow you to adjust the output pressure. So like you'll hear guys that are like, yeah, I run it on 20 psi, so 20 pounds per square inch. Basically what they're saying is that the regulator on their air compressor dials down the pressure to 20 psi, and that's what's fed in to the brush, is 20 psi. Now this particular one is what they call a double action. So basically what that means is up here you have your trigger. You press on the trigger and the air is coming out. And you pull back, you rock that trigger back, then you have paint coming out. So, and if you can see the inside the nozzle there, actually, I'll screw off the top there. So, okay, you see the needle sticking out there? And when I push down, it'd be just air coming out. But as soon as I pull it back, see that needle retract, and then you have paint coming out. So a single action basically would be as soon as you press the trigger, you got paint coming out. So that's the difference between a single and double action. I know everyone has a different preference. Some guys say single action is fine. Other guys say, you should do the double action. I think it really is just personal preference, I think. So, but this airbrush, I have nothing to compare it to, but I can tell you that I've been very happy with this brush. It's very simple to use, and this one here, so you got your input for your air compressor, and then here is where you would attach your paint. So this one can actually use the gravity style cup, or you can use the bottles. So, and this is what I mean by a gravity cup. So this little thing here, basically you would just stick it onto there, and then boom, you're ready to rock. Or you can use the bottles, and this is actually the method I prefer. So use the bottles, same idea, stick it in there and ready to rock. Obviously the difference is going to be you can fit more paint into one of these than you can into one of these. So that's, and this is open top, this is not. So there are some differences. I think I used the cup like one time. I prefer the bottle. It's just, and I don't think there's any wrong way. I think it's just personal preference. So, and I don't think there's any really wrong way to go ahead and do it. Now, obviously, there are very many different brands out there, none of which I can actually think of at this point in time, of airbrushes. There, like I said, I've already covered the single action. There's the double action. You know, I know there are different price points for airbrushes. I think as a general rule of thumb, I think if you're serious about getting an airbrush, get a nice one. Don't go and get like the little, you know, the Walmart version of whatever it would be for an airbrush, because you're gonna have, you know, probably quality control issues, tolerance issues with the way it was machined and all that kind of stuff. So you want something that's going to be nice, it's going to last you for a while. You don't want to get something that, you know, after you use it a few times, you're like, you know what, this thing's a piece of junk. I should have just went ahead and spent, I don't know, $100 instead of, you know, $50 on an airbrush. So yeah, like, I don't know what the price point on this one was. I actually haven't looked it up because I did get this as a gift. But that being said, you do have to clean these. They're not like rattle cans where you can just take and toss it into a, you know, you can't run it, spray it, and then toss it into the box and then pull it out the next time and expect for it to work right, because paint does get inside here, usually from, you know, about here, about this point here forward, you're going to have paint, because that's where it gets siphoned up through here and goes out the nozzle. So you're going to have paint in there after you've used it, so you do have to clean it. And generally I use like I run mainly acrylic, so this is what I use to clean my airbrush. And obviously the different types of paint you're going to use, you'll adjust what you use to clean the brush. So if you're running enamels, you're going to use an enamel thinner to clean your airbrush. I run pretty much just Tamiya paints mostly, or I actually use some Vallejo stuff too, but Vallejo, I mean, you can still clean it with the thinner. Actually, you can just use water, I think, to use to clean on Vallejo. So, and then I also have one of these. I did buy this. I don't know if it's necessary, but I figured it's an airbrush cleaning kit. It's got different size brushes. These are stiff bristle brushes that, and they're kind of like the baby bottle brushes. It's got the stiff bristles on there. Helps you get into those nooks and crannies, because there is a channel that runs through here that has the needle that runs the length of the brush. So just helps you get in there, clean everything out real good, especially if you start having performance issues. Like one time I had the trigger up here starting to stick. So I took it all apart and cleaned everything out, and it worked fine after that. So just something to think about. Anyway, guys, that's really all I have today. So hopefully you find this helpful and informative and all that great stuff. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Happy modeling.